There are two kinds of people in this world. The people who fail to do what they know they should, and those who keep doing things they know they shouldn't. Guess what? You're both. Hi, I'm your host, life and business coach, Marcy Barker, aka your loving kick in the pants. In this podcast, I'll teach you the 6 steps of my accountability code that will help you wake up with clarity and show up with aligned action steps that make follow through easy and peaceful. All right, let's jump in.
Good morning, my beautiful people. Actually, afternoon. I am going to one of my clients' ribbon cutting. She opened her boutique a little over a month ago, worked her butt off to get it done. I went and helped her paint just a little bit. I really didn't do a whole lot, but I'm super proud of her. So I'm headed to a ribbon cutting, which I'm glad I can get out of bed because the past couple of weeks have been so crappy. I had a virus, but I also had to I got to go to Utah for a friend's funeral and see a lot of old friends, which was really good. But if you haven't heard yet, Hurricane Helene wiped out so much of Florida and Georgia and South Carolina and North Carolina and Tennessee. It's actually been pretty devastating. And I posted on my Facebook how I'm so glad that I have my power back and my internet back and my family's fine and there's no damage to my house, even though it sounded like there was going to be a ton when it was windy that first night. It was actually really scary. But I was saying how I feel bad that there's still people out there suffering. And somebody commented and said survivor's remorse or survivor's guilt is real. And I was like, I don't think I've even come close to experiencing something like that, but I'm understanding it just a teeny tiny bit. And I think about all of the different ways in which we're able to succeed just because God allows us to. And I think that in business, it's easy to be like, I'm this way because I worked for it. I got these results because I worked for it. I saw this success because of what I did. And I think that natural disasters and things out of your control are a really good learning opportunity to be like, nah, everything's not in your hands. Not even close. And I think that when you learn about all the individual civilians or citizens who are helping each other, if you have money and resources, it's easier. It's much easier to help people. But that doesn't mean that you're better than anybody. Or all those resources in the world doesn't mean that you actually do have an upper hand. Like there's still plenty of people that had tons and tons of assets and acreage and homes and animals, and they still were left debilitated. And so I'm just thinking about how circumstances can be so different, so vast, yet there's some things that are just out of our control. And it gives me pause to count my blessings again, but also recognize that not everybody is as lucky, and some preparation can only get you so far. I think that in times like this, we have to recognize that it's very important to do all you can and to prepare and to be in a position to help other people. But at the end of the day, there's some things that are just out of our control.
Hey listeners, the message of waking up and showing up is yours for the taking. In fact, it's free. I've recorded my entire audiobook and I'd love for you to consume it between episodes. Head to marcybarker.com to get instant access to the accountability code Wake Up and Show Up. All right, let's jump back in.
Anyway, I'm just thinking about, all the different stuff I have going on in my business, and none of it's really motivating when it's up against this kind of real struggle that's happening. And the only thing that I can get to motivate me is I want to be in a position to help other people even more than I already have. And you have to do that by preparing, but you also have to be in a better financial situation to give, even right now, there's people here waiting in line. All of these people here are to get assistance, for whatever reason. And luckily I don't have to be in that line. And that's a blessing. And I think you also have to find ways to just keep going. You have to find ways to keep moving on, like driving past a line where people are lining up for assistance. And while I'm driving past that line, I'm going to my client's ribbon cutting for her open house for her business. Like, those are two very different things. And I think it's really beautiful that we are able to experience both, even though it's not always, it doesn't always make sense. But anyway, I wanted to share that because whether you are my East Coast friends and are dealing with suffering and damage and loss and heartache, or if you're my West Coast friends where everything might be peachy and you're talking about all the normal stuff because all of your immediate needs are met, I think it's beautiful to be able to experience both, because that's how we truly get the mindset and the desire to be what we're supposed to be. So anyway, no matter where you are in the world, I hope that you're safe. I hope that you are getting access to the resources that you need. And I hope that if you are in a position to help and support, that you do. And thank you, everybody who's been supporting me and checking on me during this time.
Hey friends, I want to thank you for listening to this episode of Your Loving Kick in the Pants. If you got any value out of this episode, I would love for you to drop me a review or share with a friend what you learned. All right, I'll see you next Wednesday for Your Loving Kick in the Pants.